We're going to begin this morning with the president-elect's personal push to drum up support for his cabinet picks, as some of them face an uphill battle in getting confirmed.
An official from Donald Trump's team tells NBC News Mr. Trump is, quote, heavily working the phones, trying to talk to Republican senators on behalf of his controversial pick for Attorney General Matt Gaetz.
It comes as the House Ethics Committee is set to weigh whether to release a report that details their investigation into the former Florida congressman over allegations of sexual misconduct and illicit drug use. Last night, Trump's deputy chief of staff, Stephen Miller, doubled down on the idea of bypassing the normal Senate confirmation process in order to push these nominations through.
If there are some cabinet appointments that become troublesome, will the president use the recess appointment process?
Yes. The president has won a mandate, and he will use all lawful constitutional means to fulfill that mandate on behalf of the people who voted for him in record numbers.
We have full team coverage to break it all down for us. Danny Savalos and Dasha Burns are standing by with new developments in Mr. Trump's hush money case and the latest on his cabinet picks. But first, let's go to NBC's Bree Jackson in Washington.
The House Ethics Committee meeting to discuss whether to release the findings of its investigation into President-elect Trump's selection for Attorney General, former Congressman Matt Gaetz. Mr. Trump is standing firmly behind his choice, despite allegations that Gaetz engaged in illicit drug use and sexual misconduct.
Are you reconsidering the nomination of Matt Gaetz?
No.
How far are you willing to go to get him confirmed?
Some lawmakers want the bipartisan panel to release its report to senators before the confirmation process.
It's critical. If his nomination is going forward, we want to make sure that we have access to the right documentation.
There needs to be legitimate vetting. When I say legitimate, I mean just thorough vetting that the committees do. This is our job. This is the role of advice and consent.
Vice President-elect J.D. Vance heading to Capitol Hill today to rally support for Gaetz and Trump's selection for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who faced a sexual assault allegation in 2017, but no charges were filed. With those cabinet picks facing sharp criticism, the president-elect announced TV personality Dr. Mehmet Oz as his choice to head the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Oz ran for Congress in 2022, losing to Senator John Fetterman.
He's not my first choice, and certainly Trump was definitely not my first. So here we are, and we're going to have to work with these individuals.
Trump also selecting former pro wrestling executive Linda McMahon as his pick for Education Secretary.
And the House Ethics Committee has several options when members meet in private today. They include voting to publicly release a report or passing it along to senators. Transition officials say they know that Trump's pick for Attorney General Matt Gaetz is the toughest confirmation they will have to fight for by far. Savannah, Joe.
All right, Bree, thank you so much.
Well, for more on the president-elect's cabinet picks, let's bring in NBC News correspondent Dasha Burns. Dasha, good morning. So Trump's team seems well aware of how difficult it will be to confirm Matt Gaetz for Attorney General. What are they saying about this, and what more can you tell us about today's meeting of the House Ethics Committee?
Well, look, Savannah, President-elect Trump and his team, they show no sign of backing down here. You mentioned he's personally calling senators to try to push them into confirming Gaetz. This is a pick, the DOJ, that's really important to him on the campaign trail. This is the top agency that he railed against. He felt that the DOJ was weaponized against him, and so he feels particularly that it's important to install someone in this role that's going to be loyal, and for him, that's Matt Gaetz.
All right, let's talk about the newest cabinet picks during the campaign. We know the president-elect talked about eliminating the Department of Education. Well, now he has tapped Linda McMahon to lead that department. She's a longtime supporter of the president-elect. She served in his previous administration, the Small Business Administration, used to be CEO of the WWE. So what does she bring to the table in this role? And then also talk about any other new potential nominees.
Longtime supporter and a mega donor, Joe, as well, to Trump. She put about 20 million plus of her own dollars behind him this election cycle. And she doesn't have a ton of experience with education. She was sitting on the Connecticut Board of Education for about a year, 2009, 2010. But she is very much on board with the Trump view of the Department of Education. He wants to dismantle it. He wants to bring education into the state, sort of diffuse and decentralize the Department of Education. There are some things that he can do very quickly as well to turn back some of Biden's initiatives. For example, the student loan debt cancellation, that's something that can be nixed pretty quickly. Same with Title IX protections for LGBTQ students, he can do pretty quickly. And they are looking to implement universal school choice and, again, leave all of that to the states. Joe.
While all this is going on, Dasha, talk to us about the moves Senate Democrats are trying to make before they have to give up power at the end of the year. I know we have some reporting here.
Yeah, the big push is judicial confirmations. They're trying to put as many lifetime appointees on the bench as possible. Republicans are actually trying to stand in the way of that. They're trying to slow down the process, gum up the system there. But that is the #1 priority for Democrats in these final days of the Biden administration.
Dasha, thank you very much.
Sentencing in President-elect Trump's hush money case could be delayed again. Mr. Trump was convicted earlier this year on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records related to hush money payments made to adult movie star Stormy Daniels. That was before the 2016 election.
Yeah, yesterday, the Office of Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg told the judge in the case that his sentencing should be postponed while Mr. Trump's lawyers file further legal arguments. That's expected to include a motion to have the case dismissed. Judge Merchan was scheduled to sentence Mr. Trump next week, but that was thrown into doubt in the wake of his election victory and a Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity.
Joining us now to talk more about this, NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos. Danny, good to have you with us. We are in uncharted waters again. I feel like we say that a lot, but here we have a president-elect waiting to be sentenced. First of all, explain to us why prosecutors are pushing to try and have this sentencing delayed.
Because it's going to happen anyway, and why not look magnanimous? And, for example, I could say to you, Joe, I have no objection to the sun setting in the west this evening. It's really the same thing, and the prosecutors are saying as much in their papers. They're saying, look, even if there's a decision that comes out, there's going to be an appeal, and the sentencing is going to get adjourned one way or another. Adjournment is just a legal word for delayed, pushed off, rescheduled. And it's going to happen. So we might as well agree to it now. But make no mistake about it, the New York prosecutors are going to object. They're going to oppose these motions to dismiss the case. And for them, they probably concluded that, look, whether the sentencing happens now or it happens after Trump's term, it's a win for us either way, as long as the case is still alive then.
So walk us through the possible scenarios here, and I guess what's most likely. Like, could this continue to be delayed until even after he's president? Do you think anything happens before he is sworn in?
Yes, it could be dismissed before he's sworn in. And now that he's been elected, Trump has at least two opportunities, two flips of the coin with the judge. Remember that he filed a motion to dismiss the entire case after the Supreme Court's immunity decision, not based on the idea that somehow paying off adult film stars is official presidential action. That's not the gist of the motion. Instead, it's that the New York Manhattan DA's office used evidence from his time in the White House. And the Supreme Court suggested that even evidence coming from the White House during a presidential term may be inadmissible. So they're saying the Manhattan DA's office may have used bad evidence. Now that he's been elected, they have a separate argument, which is that a sitting president cannot be jailed, and a president-elect is already engaged in presidential activities, so you can't sentence him. You can't sentence him to community service. He can't pick up trash on the side of the road with a yellow vest. Can't do any of those things. Therefore, the case must be dismissed. So the case could be dismissed, or sentencing could, in theory, be pushed beyond the election. And I think the prosecutors are viewing that as, well, look, we're not going to get sentencing between now and the inauguration. We're the only criminal case to get a conviction. If he's sentenced in 2029, so be it. That's our best chance, because this case could go away.
Let's talk about the Georgia election interference case that is still out there, but an appeals court canceled a hearing set for December 5th discussing whether to continue to allow DA Fani Willis to continue prosecuting this case. They didn't give a reason why they canceled it. What should we read into it? I mean, this was always the case that seemed to have the most struggles anyway. Does it feel like it's winding down?
There are 4 criminal cases against Donald Trump. For 3 of them, I could tell you with detail procedurally why or why not they may or may not go away. With Georgia, all I can tell you is that this case is likely going away I just couldn't tell you exactly how. And the reason why I say that is that there are so many off-ramps for this case. Consider this. All this time, the case has not been stayed. I mean, it's supposedly moving along through the appellate courts or whatever. Have you heard anything about it? Any news on it?
Right.
Look, everything in Georgia moves glacially. In the last major RICO case, it took them, not involving Trump, involving a minor celebrity or maybe a major celebrity, depending on your view. Either way, it took them 8 months to pick a jury, not to try the case. The case just ended. It's been years and years and years. For whatever reason, things do not move quickly in Georgia, in Fulton County. And also, this DA, the elected DA, has made some questionable decisions that have resulted in additional delay, and she may still get kicked off the case. And if that happens, the case is orphaned, and they have to search around for another prosecutor's office who's willing to take it. So, Joe, I cannot tell you exactly how this case is going to go away. There are just so many possibilities on the roulette wheel that if this case is going to go away, I just don't know exactly how it's going to happen.
All right, Danny, thank you so much.
Well, a powerful bomb cyclone is packing heavy rain and snow. It has more than 600,000 people in the Northwest without power. It's impacting parts of California, Oregon, and Washington, and it is just getting started. Some experts forecast the region could see a month's worth of rain in just 3 or 4 days. Meteorologists are warning of hurricane-force winds along Oregon's coast. That is very rare for the state. They're also predicting mountainous seas that could crest as high as 34 feet.
For people in low-lying areas, the biggest threat is going to be flash flooding and mudslides, while those living in higher elevations could see up to 3 feet of snow. On the other side of the country, some much-needed rain could be in store for the Northeast. More than half the states right now are under moderate drought conditions. Experts are calling this one of the driest falls on record. The culprit now for that potentially record-breaking West Coast weather, it's called an atmospheric river. NBC News national climate reporter Chase Kane explains what that is, what it does, and how it forms.
It's a weather event, and when it's severe, it can be catastrophic. It's not a hurricane or a tornado, it's called an atmospheric river. But what exactly is that? Well, an atmospheric river is a narrow current of wind carrying huge plumes of moisture stretching for hundreds or even thousands of miles high in the sky, kind of like a big floating river. Technically, they're the largest rivers of fresh water on Earth, transporting on average more than double the flow of the Amazon River. And when an atmospheric river transports tropical moisture over dry land, and that moisture collides with mountains, like California's Sierra Nevada range, for example, the water vapor rises and quickly cools, creating extreme rainfall and sometimes feet of snow. And while not all atmospheric rivers are dangerous, research from UCSD predicts climate change will make them more intense and more frequent, which could make flooding 2 or 3 times more likely. Well, that's a problem, especially on the West Coast, where CAL FIRE says more than 1 million acres of land has burned this year in California alone. And wildfires make it harder for the top layer of soil to absorb water. So when torrential rain hits, the water runs off more quickly, and that can trigger flash flooding. And that's something officials are warning of, the threat of 5 to upwards of 10 inches of rain along California's Redwood Coast and northern mountain ranges on Wednesday. On Thursday, the threat of floods and mudslides peaks. And with this one, the National Weather Service urges people to follow local alerts and not to travel through hazardous conditions. Chase Kane, NBC News.
For more on the coast-to-coast weather, let's bring in NBC meteorologist Angie Lassman.
She's keeping an eye on everything coast to coast for us this morning. Hey there, Angie.
Hey there, guys. We've got a couple of storm systems. The one that you just heard Chase talking about, and then one on the East Coast that is actually going to bring us some beneficial rain, specifically for the Northeast. But let's start out west, where already an active kind of pattern. You can see this system swirling off into the Pacific, and all of the rain and additional snow that folks across the Pacific Northwest and extending into Northern California are getting. One thing that you might have seen on social media is this thing called a bomb cyclone. What is that? This has been a kind of a word that we've started to see become more popularized in recent years. It basically is a low pressure system that intensifies very quickly. The category is about 24 millibars in 24 hours. This system has had incredible strengthening over a very short period of time. Basically, Monday night to last night, it dropped 66 millibars. All that tells you is that it is intensifying, it is strengthening, and it has more to go. And all that means is that we're going to see strong winds delivered delivered to the coast. We've already seen that in some spots. And on top of that, this is coupled with that atmospheric river event. So this is like two parts of all the same system. We've got the area of low pressure, and we've got this delivery of all this moisture that Chase was just talking about. So that atmospheric river is going to be ongoing over the next couple of days, and it's going to drive basically most of that moisture, especially into Northern California. And we rate these. The Center for Western Weather and Water Extremes kind of gives you a category of how extreme those atmospheric river events are going to be. And notice we're in the exceptional category in some of these locations. So this is why we're so concerned about the flooding over the next couple of days. Here's what it looks like when you put in the rain and the snow across this region. We've got heavy rain, especially, again, Northern California, Bay Area, up into southern portions of Oregon. And of course, that mountain snow at times will be quite intense. That means travel is going to be difficult. And this is something that we see ongoing into tomorrow, too. So the risk for flash flooding, the mudslides, all going to be there across this region. This lasts into Friday. This will be something that we watch more so towards the Intermountain region by Friday. But still, any additional rain across this region is going to be problematic. And I mentioned the bomb cyclone bringing us the potential for really strong winds. The wind alerts are up across this region. And notice we're talking 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts peak through most of these locations, but we could see gusts up to 70 miles per hour, the down trees, the down power lines. All of that is going to be a possibility. But most concerning, I think, over the next couple of days is going to be the flooding. We'll see that flash flood risk. You can see where we have that brighter pink. That's a moderate risk. So Santa Rosa up to Garberville. Those are the spots that we could see the biggest concern there, especially considering we could have over a foot of rain through the end of the week. So, of course, beneficial rain. We always say this, but not all at once. This will be something that likely causes problems when it comes to travel. We'll also see that additional snowfall in that region. And that's just one of the really active patterns we have going on that side of the country today.
Just in time for everybody to get on the road or in the air for Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
I remember.
Hopefully it'll be wrapped up.
I remember living in Seattle when these atmospheric rivers, and it was just days of just being very wet all the time.
Yeah, and besides being inconvenient, it's also, the mudslides, the flooding, all of that can be quite dangerous.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Angie.
Of course.
Some people who were hit hard by Hurricane Helene in western North Carolina, they say they feel forgotten by the federal government almost 2 months after the storm tore through the state.
Many of them are still living in temporary housing and say so far they've gotten less than $1,000 in aid from FEMA. NBC News correspondent Stephanie Gosk has more from Capitol Hill, where yesterday lawmakers grilled the head of FEMA about the agency's response.
Hurricane Helene tore through 6 states, the most destructive storm in North Carolina's history. Less than 2 weeks later, Hurricane Milton ripped apart Florida's already battered West Coast. On Capitol Hill, FEMA's administrator Deanne Criswell criticized over the agency's response.
Do you think you could have done better?
We can always improve, and we will review all
Is that a
our
yes?
response efforts.
Is that a yes?
Nobody is perfect.
Melinda Williams spoke to us in what's left of her North Carolina home.
I am only alive by God's grace.
She was in the house when the water tore it off the foundation, somehow managing to survive.
Do you recognize pieces of your house wrapped around this tree?
That's my kitchen.
But while the local government has helped, she says she has seen little federal assistance. Her application still pending.
It's kind of like they've forgotten about the people.
Your neighbors.
Yeah.
You feel forgotten.
I do feel forgotten by the government. I do.
Williams told us she was given a $750 check for immediate needs, but still no assistance to rebuild her lost home.
I haven't really seen anybody that I know that's really received any real help.
And it's been weeks.
It's been weeks.
Administrator Criswell defending the agency's response.
I am incredibly proud of the work that the 22,000 members of this workforce have done.
But FEMA, she says, needs more money.
The cost to respond to these 2 disasters is outpacing all other disasters in the previous 10 years except for Hurricane Maria.
The administrator also grilled over a FEMA employee in Florida who told workers to skip homes with Trump signs after Hurricane Milton. Criswell says that employee wasn't following FEMA policy and was fired.
We are currently investigating this
But that's not what you said. You said this
is
is isolated, reprehensible, hasn't happened. This is the only time. And they're saying, nope, 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 it's commonplace.
The destruction between the historic back-to-back storms is estimated to be $170 billion. And for some, there's an urgent need.
It's hard. It was my home that it just isn't here anymore.
This is temporary housing being set up by FEMA. They say individuals can qualify for up to $85,000 in FEMA assistance. But some of the people we speak to on the ground here in North Carolina say that the application process is complicated and the help is taking too long. Back to you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.